I truly believe that human intuition and emotion will remain at the heart of the creative work. So maybe even more than before. So as the AI generated content continues to grow, these days we see the flood of the video made with the AI tools. So many of them looks quite polished at first, but when you look at closer, so they often feel the shallow, and you start to notice awkward editing and lack of the strong basic or just weak story connection. So that's because most of these work are algorithm driven creations. So they are built purely on patterns, not real human insights. So, and while they may seem impressive on the surface, but they tend to feel the repetitive or just predictable over time. So that's exactly why people will start to value the work that shows both the strong fundamentals and the unexpected originality.
Mr. Kim, thanks for coming on and having this conversation with me today. And you've always been somebody that I've known to design your way out of problems. You're never afraid to explore different software, play with different tools, and ultimately explore different ways to expand your creative tool set. And so I'd love to have this conversation with you today, especially as the big topic is AI and machine learning right now, and how artists such as yourself are exploring these different tools, implementing them into your workflow. So I'd just like to get a better understanding of how you as an artist are implementing some AI and machine learning processes and methodologies into how you create on a daily basis, whether it's your professional work or your personal projects. But before we get to that anyway, I'd love to understand a little bit more about how you even got exposed to motion design. You grew up in Korea and you're now here in Los Angeles. And so just want to rewind a little bit and get some context of how you arrived here in the first place.
Oh, yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for having me here. And it's such a huge honor to be here. And I'm really excited to chat with you today. And yeah, so my name is Gryun Kim, which is originally Korean name. My name literally means to draw well, because my parents were art teacher in middle school and high school. So, and many of my relatives are artists. So growing up, I had a lot of opportunities to visit the galleries and to see the great artwork. So, and despite all that, I was convinced that the digital art would be the future. So in elementary school, so I began studying web design. It fascinated me that the single click could move the user to the next page and or just let them interact with my website. And once I got to the middle school, I became even more just interested in the game making, because it allowed for deeper storytelling. Then I was really enjoying hiding secret treasure boxes and just hiding hidden stories for my friend to discover. So, and eventually I decided to major visual design at university, and I enjoyed nearly every course like typography and web design, photograph, the illustration. And there's another interesting thing is experimental video. So, cause I found that experimental video class especially engaging. So we gotta do real film shooting. And also I create motion graphic design, which I realized I loved. And someday in the class, I first saw the 7 main title sequence by Kyle Cooper. And it absolutely blew me away.
Oh yeah, same. That's one sequence that I give credit to for me actually being here in LA now. Huge impact on me when I was studying. It was the first time I really saw how you could integrate filmmaking with graphic design in the form of course, motion design and the industry that came out of that. I think a lot of us were inspired greatly by that sequence. So yeah, I 100% agree with you.
Exactly. So I also try to mimic his title sequence into my version of the title sequence. And in the moment I started getting into the main title sequence, and also figured out the 3D motion graphic design might be the best way for me to tell my stories, because I can put my own story through the timeline and let you incorporate so many different elements like in 3D environments. So although I dreamed of the interactive design, I decided to focus on building my motion graphics skill first. That's how I ended up working at Giant Step, which is my first company in Korea.
Okay. Yeah. So what was the inspiration behind the move to Los Angeles? I know Giant Step does actually have a LA base, I think now. Our friend Hee-Bok Lee, I think he's still there as well. So what made you decide to make that move out here?
Yeah, so everything was going so smoothly for me in Korea. But I always had a strong desire to work on the title sequence. But at the Giant Step, I rarely had a chance to work title sequence project. So I had to make my personal title sequence work, but I felt that relying on my personal project alone wouldn't be enough to reach the next level of the growth. And then one day I post a piece called HR Giger. I have something to share. Okay. Can you see my screen? Yeah. Then one day, so I post this piece called HR Giger as a homepage version of the HR Giger. And I just drop on the Behance and Octane Renderer Facebook groups. And then Jeff Han, a director from the Hollywood studio Elastic, reached out to me. And then he was in the middle of creating the title sequence for DC TV shows called Doom Patrol. And then he said my personal work has a similar vibe. And Elastic was one of the top studio I always dreamed of working for. And so I really wanted to take that challenge. And then Jeff asked me to create just two star frame over the weekend. But I wanted to go beyond what he expected. So
I think you went way beyond that, as you always do.
Yeah, yes. Then I figured he might think I'd make the 5 or 6 star frame at most, but just only 2 days. But I ended up producing 12 star frame in 2 days. So the show, yeah, this is the star frame I created. And so I pour every skills I had into them. And then, like, for example, close simulation and realistic texturing and compositing techniques. So the response was better than I expected. And Jeff was truly impressed, and then shared my work with his colleagues. And finally they decided to hire me. And through that process, I grew a great deal. I test my own limit of how much I can create in a day. And I also confirmed that I have a passion to never miss that kind of opportunity when it comes my way.
What was it about Elastic that grabbed your attention, though?
Because Elastic was the top tier, the main title company among that period. So the first work I watched is it's a Game of Thrones main title. So it inspired me a lot. And many of the legendary main title comes from them. So I was really inspired, and sometimes I just study how they make it, and I just did frame by frame, just studying that. That's why I just try to, cause at the time there are a lot of title sequence company like IF and the Prologue and the Elastic. But Elastic was the very, popular that period. So I always want to go there.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. But one thing that I've just been thinking about just listening to you speak is, how do you actually make time for all of this? I mean, your role demands that you pay attention consistently to the latest software, all the updates, at least the software that you're using on a daily basis, the latest plugins, the latest renderers. And you're also responsible for obviously delivering the work, ideating, coming up with concepts, consistently performing. And then you have this added responsibility to stay ahead of the curve with the software so that you obviously can stay ahead of your game. So I'm really interested in how you balance everything, along with your daily responsibilities of delivering projects.
So I have a specific daily routine when I was in Korea. So so the commuting time from my house to the giant step, it would take 1 hour by subway. So I usually watch the tutorial while I'm commuting. And so it's luckily the station was my house is the first station. The giant step is the last station. So I always sitting on the seats. So I was able to watch the tutorial with my iPad. So it was really, and then when I always go to the office first. So office, so starting time is at 10 o'clock, but I always go to the 9 o'clock. And then I just always testing my, the things I learn, by commuting. So it was really great time. And then when I always go to home 1 a.m. It's just the last time the subways end. And so when I decided to studying motion graphic design, I decided I just want to master the skills first so that I can have more tools to handle the project more. So then, and also I take a lot of online course and I just try to the input and output is really important to balancing. So input means I just studying something and output means making something. I try to make that balance. Whenever I have some information, I try to use that information. Like that is the way I learn. So it gives me to make fast something, or if I have to make the start frame, I could make the start frame quicker than others. And I was able to make more start frames than others, and it makes me to grow faster than others. So when I got this kind of chance, I'm really curious about how many start frames I can make in a day. And it was a perfect example. So if I focus on and then starting from 10 o'clock, 10 a.m., and then I stay a whole night up, and I just slept at next day 12 p.m. So and then because I wasn't really enjoying, because I had to there are so many things to do. And then for clothes simulation and just fabric simulation and the compositing lighting. So it was so much fun. So I found my limit. Oh, so one day I can make that kind of level and maybe I can make it faster next day. And then, but that was the last chance I can pour all my things into the project. And then after that, I just getting laser.
Yeah. Well, that sounds familiar. It seems like you followed a similar trajectory to a lot of us, staying up until all hours of the morning, all nighters, watching the sunrise. It kind of seems like this, I don't know, like a rite of passage, for motion designers. So when you did make the move and, you landed your feet at Elastic, what was it like there for you? Did you feel like you made the right decision?
Yeah. When I first came to the US, my experience at Elastic immediately comes to my mind. So at Elastic, there are so many legendary artists I've only seen online in Korea. So one day I clearly remember it is a daily routine there. So every morning the director would share days assignment to the team. And then each artist would spend the day creating their style frames and uploading them to the shared the daily folder before they leave working. And on my very first day, when I opened that daily folder, I was honestly shocked. Because I remember thinking that, wow, these people are incredibly talented. And then it made me feel, competitive. So from that day on, I always upload my style frame last. So I could look at other artists' work first, then develop my frames even further. And then, I just make sure I try to deliver something better than every day. So this daily challenge, helped me to quickly grow as an artist. And through that experience, I learned an important lesson. To grow quickly, you need to continuously place yourself around the people who are better than you.
Yeah, we actually had something very similar called Kyle's Dropbox. And so at the end of every night, designers would put their storyboards in the folder. Animators would put motion tests or whatever it was in there. And it was just a place for him to review the work in his own time, maybe at home or in the studio. But basically anyone had access to that folder. And so that was really useful for somebody such as myself entering the career young and being around all of these talented individuals. Some people were like 10 years my senior, 5 years my senior, and being able to kind of rummage in those folders and have a look and see what other people were doing and measuring it against where you were at. It kind of helped at least set a bar to say, okay, this is where I need to be. If I'm putting my work in the Dropbox, I need it to be at this standard. And so not that it created a pressure, but I think it was more of an education to be able to see all of the great work that was happening. Of course, like some people were a bit more protective of their work, maybe felt like people might copy them. But honestly, it was just really great for, I think, at least us being entry level to have a measuring stick against where we feel like we should be. But just switching topics a little bit, something around this time, and I think this is something that we all go through as creatives, and I've seen many studios go through this as well. It's the personal project and trying to manage your time outside of work to, I don't know, just explore some other creative opportunities that you may be interested in making yourself. It doesn't mean freelancing for other company or anything like that, but just a true personal project that interests you, something that's inspiring you. And it's really hard to fit that in for both an individual creative and a studio. I mean, it's always like this afterthought. The intent is always there, but it's often just really difficult to fit that in. And you, again, on top of being able to stay up to date with all the advancements in technology, you also find time to make personal projects that are extremely complex. Take, for example, Why, the project that you did with Woo-sung. Like, how do you make time for that? And how do you fit that into your entire schedule? I mean, it seems like it's already so packed, and now you have time to do personal projects. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. Everyone asks me how to handle my time because working hard even is really hard, and there's no extra time. It feels like there's no extra time, but we still have a time. So I try to effectively use my time. So whenever I have something, I try to connect the thing I want to do. So for example, the Why, the project, it is the one of the example. So the Why was we called it Why, WAI, but people could normally call it the Way, so whatever. So because the Why is the project was originally created with the Woo-sung Kang and the Taeyeon Park and myself as an example artwork for the online course. But from the beginning, we want to create something more special than typical classic example. So our idea to showcase our individual creative strengths through the unique collaboration artwork. So after we share this project publicly, so we received the invitation from the Maxon and the company of the Snare 40, that is our main software, and to present our creative process at NAB show in Las Vegas. And we were extremely excited and accepted invitation. So while preparing the NAB presentation, we further developed our original artwork into immersive VR experience designed specifically for the Apple Vision Pro. So after our stage presentation at NAB, there was a specific Q&A section where the visitors could experience our project through the Vision Pro. And the reaction was incredible. So then afterward, we received another amazing opportunities from the Artec House, lead media art gallery in the many cities, and especially New York Artec House invited us as an artist. And now the Y project has expanded into the large scale projection mapping exhibitions. So the showcasing across the entire interior space of the Artec House. The biggest lesson we learned from this project was opportunities don't simply comes first, but rather just when we put extra passion into what we do and exceed expectations, and the continuously experiment with the new idea or opportunities naturally follow. So ultimately, our consistent creative explanation or the blending art and technology led us from just simple classic example to unexpected opportunities, such as NAB presentation or VR experience, even just Artec House exhibitions.
Yeah, but to do all of that takes a huge level of dedication and consistency that, we can't underestimate. I mean, everybody is trying to, in some way, balance their health, their relationships, the day job, and then any small amount of time that you have left, squeezing in some kind of passion, creative project, if that's what you want to do with your time. For myself, like, for example, this is something that I'm very passionate about. This is my passion project, but something has to sacrifice, right? So what kind of advice would you give to somebody who might be in a similar position, who has all of these ideas that they want to execute, but just feel like they don't have the time to do so?
Yeah, actually, the main reason we fail to do this kind of personal project is there's no deadline. So I try to set deadline myself. And back in the day, so when I have many friends and ex-girlfriend, and our time is so limited. So I feel like even working hard every day, only weekend I have a free time, but I have to date with my ex-girlfriend. So I feel pressured because I want to just work. I want to make something personal project, even on weekend, but weekend is really small time. And then I broke up with ex-girlfriend. Then I have more time, but I realized I'm getting lazy. So it's ironically, so I realized our time is limited and there's no lot of time every day. Every day is kind of busy. We try to use that kind of small free time. So then I utilize that kind of space time. So and then I had to put some deadline. So every time I meet my friend or just a coworker, I always saying, I'm going to make something, until that day, until 2 months later, I'm going to show. I just promote. Even I didn't start it. I just always saying that. And then I promise my project to others. It gives me pressure, but pressure helped me to do something. And That is my secret. Luckily, once I just finish great artwork, the next opportunity comes. Another company reached out to me. There's this big event. Could you make the title sequence for the events? And there's another deadline. So it was no more just personal work. It's just some client work, but at the same time, I could make it, try to use it personal project. So whenever I have something to test, but the projects from the company, there's a client. So we couldn't try that kind of, testing, practical things into the project. But for my personal project, there's no limitation. So we can do whatever we want. So I try to bring that kind of idea, the fresh idea into my personal project. Once my personal project is successfully, it brings another opportunities. So at the beginning, it wasn't really hard, but once I just finish something and post it, and I got really great reward from the comments or whatever, then it brings another opportunity. It makes me move. And that's my strategy.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I think showing up for yourself is often a lot harder than it is to show up for somebody else. If you have a job, you're waking up in the morning, there's an expectation for you to show up on time. If you have a client, there's an expectation that you're going to deliver the project by a specific deadline. There's hopefully a monetary aspect to the work that you're doing. So there's this responsibility that you're going to show up and deliver the work. When it comes to you and your own personal projects, it's different. I think you only have yourself to answer to. And so if you can kind of set some of these deadlines for yourself, because you will find excuses probably not to do it, or better still, maybe find accountability partners. Maybe it's your partner, maybe it's close friends that you have. Start to speak about the projects that you're doing, and then maybe they might just be prompting you or asking you questions about, hey, how's that project that you said you were working on? How's it going? And even that can be enough to light a bit of a fire under you, because now you've got other people asking you, what you're doing, or where is the work. So yeah, I think it's a good idea to do that and create some kind of system where you can be holding yourself accountable, or other people are outside of work or your clients. But anyway, switching topics a little bit, speaking of personal projects, how are you, or do you have any examples of work that you're now doing in your own time that's incorporating some of these newer AI tools that we've seen on the market that are obviously rapidly evolving and changing? Do you have anything that you are working on currently?
I think I can share two specific examples of how I integrated AI into my professional workflow. So one example that involved the project completely, entirely with AI, and the other is explain how I integrate AI tools into my existing workflow. So the first example was recent music video for the Korean famous singer Hin. And then where I asked to create a specific scene entirely using AI. So one of the scenes featured a deer standing in the snow-covered forest and looking toward the camera and then turning away. So capturing this scene in reality is nearly impossible, because finding a deer in the forest, in a snow-covered forest, and filming it is extremely challenging. So even with the traditional CGI, so realistically simulating the animal fur and muscular movements and, natural behavior is incredibly difficult. So typically requiring several months to dedicate work. So, however, by using AI, I was able to create all these shots, within just few hours. So, thanks to rapid turning around, I could spend additional time further refining the overall quality. So, however, there is a clear limitation to rely extremely on AI. Because if the client requests the detailed revisions, the subtle adjustments, making those changes become extremely challenging because the partially modifying AI generated scene is very difficult right now. So currently, the only practical way to make changes is by regenerating the entire scene, which often result on unwanted changes. So due to this, I feel there's still significant risk in relying completely on the AI for a professional project. And the second, the approach involved the integrating AI into my current workflow. So for example, when I create the style frame in CG, I often use the AI tool to upscale images, which allow me to just add even finer details on the top of what I initially created using CGI. And using AI for upscaling, the style frame has become an extremely useful part of my process. And so additionally, I use a ChatGPT to automate repetitive tasks in After Effects and Scenario 4D by developing the custom plugins. So even if someone doesn't have a formal programming background, it is possible to create the functional plugins through the simple conversation with the ChatGPT. So this method has significantly reduced my working time. And yet this approach also has a limitation. The code generated by ChatGPT often to certain unexpected error. So, and since I rely on the ChatGPT to resolve this kind of issue, debugging can sometimes become time-consuming and complicated. So, in conclusion, while AI technologies are incredibly powerful and have a potential to greatly enhance the production workflow, but I believe the most practical, the effective approach right now is to combine AI with the traditional creative skills rather than just relying just extremely on AI.
Yeah, I mean, these are really great examples, and thanks for sharing those. One thing that, I can't help but think is this is where the tools are now, today, and you're able to do some amazing work. And I do agree with you. The best case scenario is mixing traditional creative practice with artificial intelligence in a way that creates efficiencies, expands our imagination. But is there any point in which you feel like there may cross the line where you could start to diminish the role of the artist in a way?
Oh, yeah. So honestly, at this point, I'm not looking to draw a straight line when it comes to AI. So as an artist, I spend years mastering technical skills. But however, what becomes even more critical for me is continuously asking myself, why should people choose to work with me specifically? Or just what makes my involvement essential in this project? So if my primary value lies in the technical skill, I recognize eventually AI could catch up and potentially surpass those capabilities. So, but what AI can replicate my unique what AI can replicate is my unique perspective, or my interpolation, or my ability to develop distinctive idea and the creative directions. The crucial ability for the artist now is not merely processing advanced technical skill, but rather knowing just how to creatively command or utilizing AI as a powerful extension of their own vision.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about this recently with my own creative process, thinking about the entire timeline of a project and where does it make sense to have this human AI partnership? Like where in that timeline does it make the most sense? And so thinking about in the beginning, there's a lot of ideation, a lot of ideas generation. creative development. Perhaps there it's probably quite efficient to be able to brainstorm very early on and maybe scale yourself at the beginning of a project to have more ideas, to be able to bounce ideas off your kind of quote unquote AI partner. In the middle of the project, creative development, let's say there's a shoot. There's a lot that goes into the planning. Maybe you want to quickly get some ideas out of your head for storyboards or compositions. There's an opportunity there as well to partner with some of these tools. And at the back end, post-production, I'm kind of, not sure. I think maybe for now it's best to just solely rely on maybe the human touch, but maybe you could, have another opinion there. But something else I'm also thinking about is the fact that whatever we create as humans, the end experience or the end human that's going to experience whatever you've created, whether it's a film or a product or whatever, a story, we understand human emotion. And I would hope to think we understand human emotion more than the machines right now. And not to say that will change, but I think there is some kind of advantage there. And so my question to you is, as a creator, how does it make you feel knowing that these tools are advancing so rapidly and you're now experimenting with some of these tools and obviously seeing the power of these tools and what they can do? And as I mentioned before, that's as powerful as they are now. It's only going to probably progress and get more and more and more advanced. How does that make you feel as an artist?
Last year, January 1st, I decided to run my YouTube channel in terms of focusing on the AI, especially for video generation. Then before that day, I just watching the result of the video AI created videos. It looks quite good, but sometimes some weird, awkward. But I get into when I started running the YouTube channel, I had to study a lot deeply in AI. And I researched what is the best video generation these days. And then there are a lot of benchmark websites, and there's a link. So it's based on, there's two different videos. People pick which is the better result. And there are a lot of tons of questions. It continues to asking which is better. It's like battle. And then the rank based on that kind of result from the viewers. And at the time, the Rone was the rank 1, and then it continues to changing. Then I try to learn what is the top 5 the AI software, and then I tested everything. So the way I start, I just try to make same prompts, or I try to find what is the best video, and then people usually share their prompts, and then I try to find the reason why that prompt works better than others. And then I just use ChatGPT to analyze the pattern of the prompts. And the interesting is each AI tools have a specific prompt system. So it's making me feel so confusing. It's hard to learn everything. So then I just try to make the ChatGPT GPT's feature. GPT is like a persona. So for example, Rone prompter, or for example, clean prompter. So there are a lot of prompter. So I can type, I just put documentary, and I just put the best prompt the users created. And then if I just ask something I want to make, it starts creating the video. Then it's really, and it feels really, because I have to explain what is the best, why is the best, and what is the best way to make the best quality using AI through my YouTube channel. So it pushed me just continuously studying. So it's great. So now 2 days ago, the subscriber is over 100K. So it's amazing. So it's grow so quickly. So I was so surprised, and I feel like many people are really interested in AI, but they still didn't get in there because there are a lot of AI tools. It feels overwhelmed. So so I still try to learn, but at the end of AI era, eventually one just key AI tools to master everything. It's gonna be by a huge company. So I just call it multimodal AI, and then maybe but Google or just Sora, they can make, because they have more data. So whenever they release their new version, it's something different from the small studio. So I just try to keep my eyes on what is the latest AI. But because of the YouTube channel, I was able to continue to testing. But at the same time, I feel like I can feel the pattern of the grow, how it's gonna be end, and eventually the multimodal is gonna be lost AI generation, I guess.
So you believe that there'll be eventually just a handful of companies that will essentially aggregate all of these tools into one place and essentially kind of monopolize it in a way.
Yeah, but maybe there's a lot of opportunities during that day. So even we didn't get that level, but in the middle of the level, we definitely have another opportunity using the current AI skills. The people might getting in there, but there are a lot of AI generated video. It looks AI now, and it feels somehow awkward. And I've watched a lot of YouTube video. They try to show how to make the famous AI video, how to make it. But they couldn't. So once the AI video is popular, if other people try to mimic that quality, so it's gonna be not that great, because so the first thing is the key. So everyone have to make the trend, and then they try to make another trend. So the people have to focus on the value, not money. So that's what I realized during the researching that.
So what do you predict might happen to the value of human intuition?
Yes, I truly believe that human intuition and emotion will remain at the heart of the creative work. So maybe even more than before. So as AI generated content continues to grow, these days we see the flood of the video made with the AI tools. So many of them looks quite polished at first, but when you look at closer, so they often feel the shallow, and you start to notice awkward editing and lack of the strong basic or just weak story connection. So that's because most of these work are algorithm driven creations. So they are built purely on patterns, not real human insights. So, and while they may seem impressive on the surface, but they tend to feel the repetitive or just predictable over time. So that's exactly why people will start to value the work that shows both the strong fundamentals and the unexpected originality. So a great example is the film, The Parasites. So you can't predict what will happen next. And even after it ends, the feeling linger. So the director clearly used the intuition and emotion to shape the story in a way that deeply connect with the audience. So it's creative, but also well crafted. So, and the combination AI still can't truly replicate. So in that sense, AI is like a useful tool and added spice, and it can support or just enhance a project. But the core idea, the emotion depths and the surprising moments will always come from the human side. That's what really makes a piece meaningful and memorable.
would you say that with the outputs that we're seeing now, there's a lot of soul that's being lost?
Yeah. I also agree the AI generated content often feel like the lack of the soul. So as AI has made a video production easier, the many non-professional can quickly produce visually impressive results. But when you look at closer, so these creations often the lack of the coherence storyline and natural transition or just thoughtful direction, which makes the content feel empty or incomplete. So interestingly, I noticed that the professional video creator produce much higher quality when they use AI. This means that having solid foundation in storytelling and the fundamental filmmaking knowledge is essential to effectively use AI. So currently, the AI generated visual often have a artificial or just uncanny quality. That's similar to the uncanny valley effects when we experience the CGI. So which can create a sense of discomfort. However, I believe this will generally improve as the AI technology advanced. So ultimately, as the AI makes the content create easier, the creator with the strong fundamental skills and creative directions and human side will continue to produce the most meaningful work. The extra time saved by the using AI should be spent deepening the story or refining details.
Yeah. Yeah. I always use this example of when digital cameras flooded the market. And in a way, it kind of democratized access to filmmakers, people who had good ideas. But now the price point or the barrier of entry was lower. So now there were a lot of ideas that now were able to see the light of day. Everybody was a director. Everybody was a photographer. We had platforms like Vimeo and YouTube that provided a place for people to upload their content, to get distribution, and for people to see all of these amazing ideas that people had. And so when I think about AI tools, I'm not a 3D artist, but now I have access to tools that could, from my imagination, create something on the level of a really complex 3D render. Sometimes I look at these tools and I'm like, oh, I could do something that Gryun could make. How long would that take me to do now? So something that might take you, like yourself, a week in a traditional way may eventually only take, I don't know, an hour, a day at tops, depending on how many refinements you have to go through, maybe even less, maybe a few minutes. So taking all of that into account, how does that make you kind of reassess your value and your contribution in the industry, like as an artist, knowing that, these tools are now democratizing even more access to people who may not have to learn these tools as much as you've had to, or people that we know have had to be able to output imagery to that level and that standard?
Yeah, I see AI automating a lot of technical works, but actually the open more space for me to add value as an artist. So when a new tool shows up, I treat it like an upgrade, so not threat. So think about the jump from the slow CPU rendering to faster, GPU rendering. The instance feedback let us rise CG quality almost overnight. But yet the masterpieces were made before the today's hardware. What stays with us wasn't resolution. So it was more like concept or story and emotion. The AI feel the same, I guess. It gives me the first drift in a minute, but so I can spend my time sharpening the idea and building the clearly just a narrative I believe we are heading toward the future with almost no technology limits. So when that day comes, nobody will care which software we use. They more care the feeling of the honest or just fresh and moving. So I think the question about this is more like the CPU to GPU, but we still think of the masterpieces. So it still has a specific value. It's not related to the hardware or software.
So considering all of this as an artist, where would you say is the best use of time?
I think, so for me, we could spend more time for fundamental, things rather than just try to, because, when I try to do some project with the AI, so for example, the music video stuff, so I saved a lot of time. Then I just able to create different variations. And then I try to figure out what is the most important thing for this music video or this scene. So I just keep thinking this, and then it goes to the fundamental things. So how to editing, or why this scene is important, why this angle should be like this, so rather than just, full shot or it's a medium shot. There's a lot of, the fundamental things. We need to focus on that. And also I try to follow the music concept of the music video. And I try to focusing on the music, which scene is more important. So we have more choices right now. So we try to figure out what is the best and what is the most important thing. Then it is more about, fundamental things that I try to pick the best one. And once I pick the best one, how could I make it better? So from that start frame, I could make variations again. We can make more better quality than before. So I think, AI driven industry, we could use that kind of fast feedback to use our spending more deepening or sharpening our idea or just meaning.
Yeah. I mean, this makes me think a lot about creative identity and the fact that we've already established these tools are evolving extremely quickly and they're in so many people's hands. And we saw very recently what happened with Studio Ghibli, where a craft that has taken years, if not decades, was very easy to replicate. And the ability to do so was in so many people's hands, right? And so multiply that with individual artists who have a style that now can be very easily replicated. Does that give you any thoughts about yourself and your own craft and how you can somehow, protect your visual identity in a way?
When it comes to the Ghibli style of the image, I uploaded my YouTube video, and the title is not create Ghibli style anymore. Make this, use this feature like this, something like that. So, when my digital art start to getting attention through the NFTs, and many people said the artist should have their own strong, unique style. And, having that style that's, instantly recognizable can be helpful. But I decided to take different approach. So instead of, sticking to just one style, I prefer to create something new and unexpected each time. So in fact, my creative identity is based on the sense of unpredictability. So, I always want people to wonder how will Gryun interpret this idea differently in this time. So, maintaining this creative flexibility is extremely important to me. So personally, I'm very excited about the learning and adapting the new technologies. Whenever a new technology appeals, I actively try to study it, and then I find the best way for me to learn something is just teaching or explaining it to others. So for example, I run the YouTube channel dedicated to the AI because I have to deeply understand the topic before I can explain it. So it naturally stay updated the latest information and trends. And this approach allowed me to continuously experiment by applying new ideas to my existing creative workflow, which helped me to stay adaptable. And by continuously taking on new challenges, I gradually lost the fear of the experimenting. So now I can easily go beyond conventional idea and find completely new or the original combination. So ultimately, I believe that staying open-minded and continuously learning and embracing the experimentation is the way to maintain my creative identity while I also staying adaptable.
Yeah, I suppose that's one way to do it. Unpredictability, keep people on their toes. But that's also very difficult. Thinking about my own work and my own process, I think over the course of your career, you do develop some kind of style that can be hard to shake. So, I mean, yeah, if you can constantly reinvent yourself, of course, that's one really excellent piece of advice. So what would you say to designers who might actually being overwhelmed by this? I'm sure you get a lot of questions. So please share, like, what would you say? What piece of advice would you give?
Yeah, I got tons of messages and many motion graphic designer or just young just people. They ask me, do I keep studying this? Because AI is overtake our job. So my advice to designers to feeling overwhelmed by this kind of changes is not to worry about or just not too much worry about or rush, because just keep doing what you already do best. So, and slowly starting the exploring the AI when you're ready. So you don't need to learn every new AI tools immediately. Those tools are becoming easier to use and their quality is improving quickly. So honestly, before I started using AI myself, I feel also the unsure and even a bit worried. But when I actually tried it, I was surprised because it was a lot of fun than I expected. Because it was fun, I felt motivated to keep going or exploring even more. So it amazed me to see my idea quickly become real through the AI tool. So I think the motivation is one of the most important factor when starting something new, and using AI naturally gives you that motivation. So once you find the AI tool that suits you and then combining it with your existing skill, so you will begin creating the interesting results. And this excitement will help you to stay inspired to continuously learning and experimenting. So don't stress about trying to, keep up with everything all at once. If there's an AI tool you are curious about, just try it casually at first. If not, just focus more deeply on what you're already good at. Or ultimately, the strengthening your core value will help you to use the AI more effectively in the future.
Are there any artists or technologies that have really grabbed your attention recently? Like, I know obviously you're teaching a lot about AI on your YouTube channel and kind of helping people through that transition now, but what else are you looking at and where are you spending some of your research time?
I just waiting for everything they come together. So among these, I especially excited about interactive arts. So recently, with advanced months in AI, I feel that we are finally entering an era where we can fully realize my childhood dream of creating interactive arts. So I've always loved the idea of the artwork that don't stay fixed, but continuously evolve. So now it's not only the art itself, but the audience participation that shapes or transform the experience. So I'm planning to use the AI as a key factor in this transformation. My ultimate goal is to create the living or just breathing art tool that continuously change based on how audience engaging with them.
Is there anything specific here that you think we should be paying attention to?
I try to use all these techniques I have, and at the same time, I try to challenging new tools using AI. So last time I used a Unreal Engine to create my presentation. So at the time, I didn't have any experience to making game with the Unreal Engine before, but the AI help a lot. And in terms of the design, I haven't tried to make the 8-bit game style, retro game style design before, but using the AI, I was able to quickly make the 8-bit style. But I realized that it continues to make the random 8-bit style. I have to develop more for my style, about my stories. It takes a lot of time, but it feels me, I can do whatever I want using AI, because it's like a biggest assistance. So from now on, I try to, rather than just follow specific AI, I try to AI in different way. So how about making a game? How about, making a presentation differently? How about, making interactive web page?
Yeah, apps. Now you're able to create apps, and then soon probably like entire businesses.
Yeah. People normally think they have to use, if the AI generated video, they always keep thinking just I can make the video using AI, but I just try to use that feature for other purpose, like a main game or just whatever. So I try to find the kind of unique style of the something using AI.
So where would you say the attention should be right now? Or let's say actually stretch it out 6 months to a year from now, because obviously everything that we're looking at today, in 2 or 3 months time, it's evolved and moved on, and there's a new version or a new tool that's come out. So stretch it out to 6 months to a year. Where would you be putting your energy, attention, and focus?
Right now, so getting top tier result with the AI means chasing dozens of the tools. So the reading every new updates and then paying for a separate subscription that keeps changing the price and the ranking. So over next year, I think the real game changer will be finding a one place that does the heavy lifting for us. I see that shift happening along two main tracks. So first is rapid rise of the multimodal AI. So recently, the upgrade in the Google AI Studio and the ChatGPT already lets you craft the text, image, even the video inside one single chat window. So big AI companies have data and hardware to keep pushing this one-stop creation stuff, the one-stop creation shop. So the artist will spend less time jumping between the apps and more time refining the ideas.
And save money too.
Yeah, exactly. And second is all-in-one creative platform. The site like FreePick are turning into the AI hub, and you pick the engine there, and Midjourney or Magnific AI just run it, whatever, and handle the whole pipeline generation or just image generation, video generation, upscale, editing, export, everything in one site. So one scription and one interface, and you still get the best tool for each task. That's huge boost in the speed and the mental bandage. On the top of that, the animation, the automation tools like MCP or AI agents and no-code builders are improving quickly. So I always use them to automatically update my website and my social media posts. Soon, I think that every artist will want their own personal AI assistants to handle everyday tasks. the learning to use those AI tools well, so will become just as important as just learning design software.
Yeah. Well, Gryun, thank you for taking what I would say is a very important mentorship role, educating and guiding other creatives through perhaps one of the biggest transformations that we will ever go through in our lifetime as creatives, as artists. And so I really appreciate all of the time that you've taken today to answer these questions thoughtfully. All of the work that you're putting into your YouTube channel that I'm sure so many people are benefiting from. I know I benefit just from knowing you and asking you questions on a daily basis around, your thoughts on AI tools and what I should be looking at myself. And so at the end of every episode, I do have a question that I like to ask, in one way or another. And so for you, it would be, considering all of the work you're doing to guide and to mentor, what does it mean to you to be a creative leader in this space?
To me, the creative leadership start with a strong sense of responsibility for every word or just decisions. So as my AI focused YouTube channel grows, I've learned that the first step in any communication is carefully thought and the refinements. So the word carry real power. So the good leaders organize the idea clearly and check the message carefully and fully believe in what they are saying. So only then will teammates or just audience truly trust that person. Beyond this basic step, a creative leader should help those around them use their strengths fully or build on trust. So leaders must accept each person's skills and interests openly. So and sometimes let go their own ideas to trust and grow with the team. So it's important to lead, but also encourage everyone to freely share their ideas and their thoughts. In this sense, I deeply admire Simon Yu because you keep learning and pushing creative boundaries and communicates idea in a way that people can trust and follow.
No, thank you. I really appreciate that. For me, I think it's just more about the continuous education. I don't want to be left behind. And so conversations like this, interviewing people such as yourself, is really inspiring. And I learn a lot from these conversations. And so really thank you for taking all of the time. And something that, I have realized from especially this conversation is that we are still so early. You are so well versed in what's happening. But I think it's still early enough for people to actually grow with this and become experts and just start playing with the tools. And so that's a really important thing, I think, to understand. The access is there. And so thank you for making that so clear and for all of your inspiring words today. So before we wrap this up, where can we actually find you? Where's your YouTube channel? Where are you on social media?
But my YouTube channel, mostly, basically targeting for the Korean audience. So I speak Korean, so you can see the subscription, subtitle. But the best place to find me is on Instagram because I always keep my DM open and it's the first place that I share my latest project updates. So please feel free to reach out to my social media, so called KIMGRYUN, which is my social Instagram account. So feel free to contact me, and I'm really curious about other people's opinion or idea. I'm really happy to listen to the other things That's why I loved working at Apple, because in the team we have in different industry experts. Our conversation is kind of different from my background. When I work at the Elastic or Giant Step, we are the artists, but working at Apple, there are a lot of different industry people. The conversation is really interesting. That's what what I really want to listen to. So I'm so open with it, and so hopefully my dream is to succeed together, not alone. So if I cheers alone, so it's gonna be really lonely. So I really want people to succeed through our communication, or just eventually we hope the human happy words than just AI words. So eventually we just aim that. So yeah, Instagram is the best way to reach out to me.
Well, wise words, my friend. And I'm going to be in your DMs because I want a tutorial. So please look out for my messages for my one-on-one. And once again, Gryun, thank you so much for all of the thoughtful preparation with the videos and for the inspiring answers today. So thank you very much. And I'm sure we'll be talking again soon. Thank you.